Have you ever been told something to do even though you didn't completely understand the reason why? Chances are you have. We all have. Perhaps your mom or dad told you to do something that seemed random or unimportant. But you obey, or at least you should. Why? Because you trust the person who gave you the instructions. Your parents or a teacher, people who care about you and have your best interest in mind. This is exactly what happened to a blind man sitting on a street in Jerusalem who met Jesus. Jesus' instruction involved some mud and a pool of water, a pool that we're going to visit right now. Jerusalem. It's a big city with lots of people coming and going. Today, the streets are filled with cars and buses instead of donkeys and sheep like was probably the case in Jesus' day. Still, Jerusalem was a busy place over 2,000 years ago, and for a blind man who had been blind from birth, he was probably familiar with being ignored and tripped over and laughed at by the thousands of people who would pass him by. However, one day a man named Jesus stopped and showed him some kindness. Do you remember this story? In John chapter 9, Jesus spit in the dirt to make some mud and rubbed it in the blind man's eyes. He then told him to go wash his eyes off in a pool called the Pool of Siloam. Now, this wasn't a swimming pool. This was a pool people used for fresh drinking water and for religious baths, which were traditions of the Jews from the Old Testament, very different from the baths we take today. The water that filled this pool came from a nearby underground spring called the Gihon Spring. The pool likely looked something like this, decorated with stone columns on one side and several sets of steps that led down into the water. In 2004, while workers were digging underground in Jerusalem, they uncovered a stone pavement, and after archaeologists were brought in, they discovered stone steps leading down to a basin, like in a pool. The architectural style was the same as other buildings that had been dated to the time that Jesus was alive on earth. Now, the blind man, Jesus sent this man, eyes caked in mud, to this pool and told him to wash his eyes clean. It was quite a walk, especially for a blind man. But he did just as Jesus had told him to do, and all of a sudden he could see. Imagine his excitement and joy. The Bible tells us people who saw that blind man after he had regained his sight were so shocked they actually asked if this really was the same man that had been blind. Some people even thought it was just a man that looked like him, but in fact it was him, and he was given his sight by Jesus because he trusted the instruction of Jesus and obeyed. Having your eyes caked in mud and then being told to go wash them seems very strange, but what do you think would have happened if he hadn't gone to the pool and washed his eyes off? Today, the Bible gives us our instructions, and we need to trust that what the Bible says is what we should do. Just like the blind man, God tells us what to do because He wants to bless us. Just like we trust our parents because we know they love us, we should also trust God because He loves us. It's up to us to obey.